Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into one of the most powerful features in Adobe Analytics, segmentation. It's really the key to unlocking the real stories your data is trying to tell you.
So, you ever run into this? You look at all of your data at once, and what you're really seeing is just the average. The average user, the average visit. You're completely missing all the interesting details.
But what if you could zoom in, Isolate specific groups, like people who came from a certain campaign, or users on their phones, or maybe customers who ditched their shopping carts. That's exactly where segmentation comes in. It's the tool that lets us cut through all that noise to find the specific, actionable stories that are hiding inside our data.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with the big why, then get into the core building blocks. After that, we'll get practical, build a segment, look at some advanced stuff, and then tie it all together so you can see how to turn all this data into actual insights.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning. What's the point of all this? Well, it's really about asking smarter questions, better questions. At its heart, a segment is just a filter. That's it. It takes this giant crowd of all your visitors and helps you sort them into smaller, much more useful groups based on stuff they have in common.
And this lets you understand not just what's happening on your site, but who's doing it and why. Are mobile users from Instagram converting better than desktop users from Google? Segmentation is how you find that out.
Now, to really get good at this, you have to understand its basic structure, the 3 containers. Honestly, this concept is the key that unlocks pretty much everything else. Think of containers as different zoom lenses for your data. They let you control exactly what you're looking at. Are you interested in a single click, an entire visit, or that person's whole history with you? The container is what sets that boundary.
And this analogy on the slide, it nails it. A hit is like one single moment in a story. A visit is a whole chapter. And a visitor container, that's the entire story of that person, from beginning to end.
All right, theory's great, but to really get it, let's see how this works. We're going to use the exact same rule for all 3 examples. We're looking for when a page equals winter coat, and we'll only change the container. You'll see how much the results change.
Okay, first up, the hit container. Our report is super focused. It only shows us the one single hit that matched our rule. That's it, just the view of the winter coat page. Nothing before it, nothing after it.
But now, look at this. We switch to a visit container, and suddenly we get the whole story of that session. We can see they came to the homepage, they clicked on winter apparel, then our coat page, and they even made a purchase. The entire chapter is right there. And finally, the visitor container. This one pulls in everything, all pages from all visits by anyone who has ever viewed that winter coat page. So now we see that first visit, plus another visit where they came back to look at boots and hats. So here's the bottom line. The container you choose is the story you tell.
Okay, now that we've got the theory down, let's actually put it into practice. You'll see that building your own segment is actually pretty easy once you know the parts.
So the segment builder is this cool drag and drop thing that just walks you right through it. You grab a dimension, you set a rule, and this is the most important part. You pick the right container for the question you're trying to answer.
And you don't have to stop with just one rule. You can start layering them together using and or. So you could look for, say, mobile users and visitors from that new marketing campaign. That's where the real magic happens, when you start getting super specific about who you're looking at. All right, so now that we know how to isolate groups, let's kick it up a notch. Let's analyze their behavior in a specific order. We're moving from what did they do to in what order did they do it?
And that is where sequential segments are your best friend. By using this special Venn operator, you can start answering those really critical journey questions like, what do people do right before they buy something? Or where are people getting stuck in our checkout process?
This timeline makes it crystal clear. We're literally mapping out a path to find people who were this close to buying, but didn't. We're looking for anyone who saw the homepage, then a product, then the cart. But, and this is the key, we exclude anyone who actually made it to the order confirmation page.
And it gets even cooler. You can add time constraints. Using within and after lets you ask not just what did they do next, but how fast did they do it? Or did they come back to the site after a week? It's incredibly powerful. But user journeys aren't always a straight line, right? What about when the order of a few steps doesn't really matter? That's where a logic group is perfect. For example, maybe some people read reviews, then add to cart, and others add to cart, then read reviews. A logic group lets you catch both by just saying, hey, these two things have to happen. I don't care what order.
Okay, so we've gone through the what and the how. Let's wrap this all up with the why. Why learning this is such a game changer for anyone who works with data.
Here's the most important thing to remember. When you learn this stuff, you move from just reporting numbers to actually understanding the people behind them. You stop looking at that blurry average and you start seeing everything in high definition. That's the difference between saying our conversion rate is 2% and discovering that mobile visitors from your spring campaign have a 5% conversion rate, which tells you exactly where you should be putting your money.
At the end of the day, your data is full of stories about what your customers want, what frustrates them, and what makes them convert. By building and applying the right segments, you can finally start to hear exactly what it's trying to tell you.